training.
Yeah.
What a lot of people don't realize is in high intensity intermittent sports, and it could be your sport,
Yeah.
it could be football, it could be a lot of different things, is that ability to recover between, not just rounds, I mean you have 5-minute
Yeah.
rounds in competition, but you want to recover between in those, but actually recovering between higher intensity bouts during those rounds.
Yeah.
And every time you take the load off your muscles, then you're using oxygen to recover those muscles.
A little lull in action or whatever.
Yeah, so the idea is that if you have a high aerobic capacity, then you can rely on oxygen to restore the energy in those muscles. And the better aerobic capacity you have, up to a point that still works for your sport, because we don't want to turn you into an endurance, athlete, but you don't want to have poor endurance.
Yeah.
You don't want to be just a power athlete either. So if you're at 100% of power and strength, but you're at 30% of where your aerobic ability is, you're not going to be an effective performer over a long period of time. So you compromise some of the strength and power to bring your training up so you can increase your aerobic levels. So what really you try to find is that balance between what's the appropriate amount of power I need, what's the appropriate amount of strength, and then how much aerobic training do I need to do to get that up without compromising this too much.
Yeah.
Because you'll get certain strength coaches that say, no, you don't want to do any aerobic training, it's going to hurt your power, or it's going to hurt your strength. Well, again, you don't want to be at 100% of strength and power only without having a good aerobic base. So the idea with a sport that's intermittent and varying intensities is that you need all three.
Yeah.
And that's the key, is to find that. So again, we're interested in finding out what your aerobic capacity is, because that'll help you avert fatigue over a long competition. Okay? And again, it just boils down to giving your muscles the chance to restore energy using oxygen without having to metabolize carbohydrate in a real high way.
Yeah.
Because then you're just going to fatigue faster. But I'm interested, you were having some conversations before about what you can drink during competition?
Yeah, well, it all depends where the fights are at, different conditions and whatnot, but I know it has to be clear, and I'm not sure if you can bring Gatorade in or not. I'm pretty sure you can, but I'm not 100% sure.
Are you allowed to eat anything during that?
During?
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't want to.
I mean, even just a little bit of, just to get some sugar in you.
No, you can't.
Can't do that. Okay.
I mean, those are so short. By the time you sit down and you try to catch your breath, I mean, you can barely take in water.
Right. So what do you do as far as, and this is where Lisa was being our nutritionist here. What do you do to prepare for a competition?
Okay, so I usually start
nutrition-wise, I mean.
On nutrition?
Yeah.
Like day of or just before?
Let's go the day before, and then we'll work up to it.
The day before, well, this is the thing too. We have to make weight.
Right.
And so I'm kind of 220, 225, and usually 225. I have to cut down to 205, and that's really depleting all my water, getting my water weight sucked down.
So how close is your weigh-in before?
24 hours before. Okay. So we weigh in the day before. After that, I usually start with one Gatorade with maybe a Gator Light in there, just extra electrolytes.
Yeah.
And a water, and then my stomach's pretty
So this is after the weigh-in.
Right after.
Right.
Then I'll usually try to take down a protein shake, something food-wise, but that's not really solid. And then I gotta wait a little while because my stomach has shrank, and so I'll wait an hour and a half or so, and then we go out to eat, and I usually have some sort of carbs, protein, and then I'm drinking fluids. Probably too much, but I'm drinking fluids throughout the whole night.
And why do you say too much? Because you're up all night peeing?
No, I don't know if it's too much or not. I drink just ridiculous amounts of water before,
I mean, obviously hydration is important, but you don't want to go overboard.
Exactly.
A couple of reasons. One, you don't want to be up all night and interrupting your sleep, having to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Secondly, if the urine is really, really clear, like drinking water, that may mean, and I'm not saying it does mean, but it may mean that your blood is a little dilute too.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then that might play out to a little bit of nausea or uneasiness. And
I would say on the Gatorade, overhydrating on Gatorade instead of just plain water. Maybe.
Okay.
And so, you know, I'll continue to eat. I usually eat 2 meals at night, even though weigh-ins are usually around 5 o'clock. I'll have a big meal and usually have another meal because I won't be able to eat a lot at the first meal. Then I wake up in the morning.
What time are competition?
Usually fight around, it starts at 4, I usually fight around like 7.
Okay.
So I'll wake up and I'll usually have some sort of like banana and oatmeal with some like nuts in there and maybe a protein shake, lots of water, maybe a carb drink. Then lunch I'll usually do like maybe chicken breast and some vegetables and maybe something very light before I go over to the arena. Then I'm usually, you know, before competition you're nervous, you don't know if you're hungry, you're just nervous, and I usually have like a little you know, fruit nut bar, granola bar or something right, you know, before. Like an hour or so before? Or? Yeah, probably an hour or so before. Okay. And, you know, keeping my hydration up, and then go out there and then, you know, fight in between rounds, just water, a little bit of water, and then, yeah, that's about. And so is it always 5 rounds? No, it's 3, unless you're fighting for the championship. Okay. Okay. So, okay. So 3 5-minute rounds. So how long, I mean, it's obviously 20 minutes or so. But yeah, I mean, in 15 minutes you get, you know, your breaks, maybe 2 breaks, and that's if you go the whole time, you know, but. Okay. Did you ever have, or have you ever had any sort of uneasiness stomach-wise because of what you ate or not ate? No, not stomach-wise. I mean, your body pretty much takes care of everything when you're getting in there because everything shuts down and you just, you know. You know, obviously I've been tired. Yeah. My last fight, I tore my MCL in like the first 30 seconds. I had to fight 15 minutes with it, and you know, kind of, I was tired because I was using more of my upper body when I had them down instead of like you know, different moves thrown in my legs. But I've been through. Out of 12 fights, I've been through 3 decisions that went 15 minutes, and each one of them I usually been pretty fine. I mean, nutritionally, this short, even though it's high intensity, there's really not a whole lot of nutrition need if you've done everything right beforehand. Would you agree? I mean, it sounds like you're doing everything right as far as that's concerned. Is your training like that too? I mean, yeah, I try to eat, you know, very clean. You know, a lot of chicken breast, veggies. I try to get, like, I usually have a typical day for me on like a Monday. It's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Per se is I wake up, usually have a probably like just a little like just raw oatmeal in a protein shake. Okay. And I drink that, and then I go do my strength and conditioning, which is they usually try to simulate rounds, so we'll do probably 5-minute rounds with 30 seconds break in between, just so my body doesn't gets used to 30 seconds instead of a minute. And we'll do everything from, you know, we'll be doing pull-ups to back on the treadmill, running at an incline for a minute, back to doing cleans, back on the treadmill. We'll just keep, you know, try to get my heart rate up the whole time, and then one might be pulling a sled outside, running for a pretty long distance, you know, and we do 5 minutes of those. Then I usually drink a little bit of Gatorade, you know, have a banana or something, and then go into jiu-jitsu, which is about an hour and a half until noon. And so before you do that, how long was that other session? That was about an hour. An hour? Yeah. And then I go right into jiu-jitsu. So from about 9 to noon, I'm working out. Okay. Then afterwards, I try to get a bigger meal. How soon afterwards? Well, I'll take in a protein shake like immediately after. Okay. And then I'll have a bigger meal, whether it be, you know, just a good lunch, like, you know, a tuna sandwich, but not much or whatever. Do you think it's worthwhile, you know, because you described a pretty hard hour, and then going into a different kind of session? Do you think it's worth having the nutrition, some kind of protein in that in-between time?
I would say more carbohydrate than protein.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about the recovery from that high intensity.
The carbo, the waxing aids I take sometimes, like between and off. Okay. Because it's hard for me to.
Are you getting the training results you want? Are you getting the bulk you want? And
definitely.
And all that?
I think my strength and conditioning coach is pretty good at you know, like you're saying, balancing the anaerobic and whatnot. But you know, then we come back, we have a night session, which is pretty rigorous, but Yeah, you just try to eat real clean and try to feel, you know, my body that, you know, has enough energy to get through it all, you know, because I put a lot of stress and you know, just to go from one practice to the other, it takes
Do you have a feel for how much protein you have a day? Has anyone ever tried to map that out, or?
I probably have. I mean, the protein I have now is sponsored by a pharmaceutical company. It's 62 grams of protein in one serving. Probably have 3 of those a day, and then I eat at least, you know, I eat chicken breast or like some turkey or something at night. Tuna, eggs during the day. So I'm probably getting
Well over 250 grams.
250 grams, that's what I was thinking.
So that's 180 just from
yeah.
the shakes, which is actually probably, that 180 is probably perfect.
Yeah, probably enough.
And
But
so you're looking at, let's say 280 grams, and in kilos, 225 is
Roughly 100.
okay. So, probably a little high on the protein. Yeah.
take that down a little bit. Or?
I would take just like 160, 180.
Yeah. What does your body do to the protein, the extra protein?
Well, it breaks it down and it ends up storing it as triglycerides.
The other thing too is the part of the protein that your body can't use is the nitrogen. So your kidneys have to get rid of it.
Yeah, how are you kidding?
So chronic too high protein, you know, your body's having to metabolize that nitrogen. Your kidneys are having to manage that, producing more urine and such. So, you know, there is a load on your kidneys, and, you know, it might cause you to, you know, lose a little more fluid than what you want to.
Yeah.
You know, but as Lisa suggested,
Yeah.
It's still,
I mean, that's
obviously
a
still
high
critical,
protein
but
day for me, but
Yeah.
I'm usually not that much, but
yeah.
I mean, that's.
Yeah, there's really no need to do that much.
Yeah.
So if you were having the fish and the turkey and such, or chicken breast,
Yeah.
you know, maybe one of
maybe
those.
one, maybe
shake.
2 shakes would be.
Yeah.
The only reason I do that many shakes is just for they're convenient to take
Sure.
to the gym, you know.
Sure.
Would it still taste decent to you if you only did half a scoop?
Oh yeah, that's fine. I can taste it.
Because that's an easy way
Yeah.
to just cut out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. That's, again, more isn't better.
Yeah, that's what I do sometimes between the